Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Journaling with Jay, and today we're going to be talking about dating. Haha, yay! So, I've basically talked about dating on this channel briefly. I talked about abusive relationships. I talked about, cuddle season. I recently talked about that 3, 4 months ago. I want to talk about dating in this generation and how it goes down and what they're experiencing, how they feel after getting ghosted. And we're going to talk about the ghosting as well. The a lot of people in 2025, I feel like that's not going to change. First, I want to dig deep into dating apps. So, this generation, of course, is always on their phones, always on their iPad, whatever the case may be, laptop, whoop-de-whoop-de-doo, right? And you want to find love. We don't find love outside, guys. We don't step outside. We only step outside, whoop-de-whoop-de, right? COVID happened, right? And that's when we were at our lowest and everything was shut down and whoop-de-whoop-de-doo, right? So that's when I feel like dating apps came into scene in 2020. Um, Porn was also something that was up there in 2020. How do I know? Because I watch videos on people breaking down what apps or what was popping in 2020. Yeah. So, whoop de whoop de doo, right? So, a lot of people want to find love, they want to find connections, but of course, we couldn't step outside because of I can't say it on YouTube because I might get demonetized. But, um, we all know it's a sickness, and, there was apps like Bumble. There was apps like Tinder. Tinder is still popping and whoop de whoop de doo. Um, Hinge. There's so much dating apps out there, and let me tell you guys, these dating apps, obviously in the society, I'm gonna say it time and time again. Sex sells. Sex sells, guys. Sex sells. Um, we don't like emotional attraction anymore. We like physical attraction. We like just friends with benefits, or we like one night stands. And I feel like that's where we're hitting rock bottom with dating in this kind of society. I also think that there's a lot of girls out there that, you know, they label themselves as whores or hoes. Not from my mouth. Not from my mouth. Girls actually be saying that. I be like that, right? There's also men that have a roster, Me personally, that roster shit, I'm not fucking with that. I'm not fucking with that. If you have a roster like that, no, I don't do that. But I feel like it's more prominent when you ask a guy, hey, how many bodies do you have? And they be like, oh, like I got 20 and I'm so proud of it. Like they stacked up money or some shit. Like they proud of that shit. And then when they get a girl pregnant or have a pregnancy scare or STDs, then it's like, oh, well, you know, it is not my baby. It's not, she probably fucked another nigga, So that's where we're going wrong. And I want to reiterate, right? I'm gonna reiterate like what I said about dating apps, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I personally saw videos on YouTube about, oh, this is my worst Tinder date, and it's a whole story time about how this guy took them to a abandoned hospital and died on the third. Um, there's people out there like that. If that's their kind of taste of men, yeah. But right. I feel like these dating apps, it works for some people, works for, And then when you try to make connections in person, we have this stare. And I feel like you guys heard about this stare. It's called Gen Z stare. And they just look at you, if you say, hey, they just stare at you. People do not like to say good morning. They're gonna think, oh, you wanna fight, bitch? Yeah, yeah, this is the society we're living in. We don't like connection. We are all set on personal connection, which I love about this society, about Gen Z, that we're all about mental health, all about working out, all about working on myself. Great. Toodles, yes, we love that. We're all about, focusing on, emotional stuff, right? But like, we're losing the connection, and it's showing. Like, it's showing. Like, some of y'all are dumb as bricks. Not gonna lie. Like, some of y'all, like, when I try to have a personal conversation with somebody, um, it just, I don't understand. I don't know if it's me, and I'm doing some personal reflection, and that's what you guys should be doing too. We should be looking at both parties if you're the issue. But no one can hold a conversation, no one could communicate, and no one can keep the communicating floating. I feel like it dies out so fast. You met the person so soon, and then they're gone in a jiffy, and it's just like, are we bipolar, guys? Like I'm concerned. I'm really concerned because the people that I talk to, and this is just people that I talk to personally. I have people that can hold great conversations, and I have some people that can't hold good conversations, and then I have some people who are wishy-washy and like, you know, are happy this day or want to have we're human, it's great. But I feel like when it comes to that personal connection and that personal, oh, like, I really want to talk to you about X, Y, and Z, it's just like, it's just, we give that kind of Gen Z stare. Going back to the dating scene, I feel like if you guys do not have communication set in place, and everyone nowadays is like, yeah, I want my man to have good communication. I want him to, tell me what's up. I want to tell my, like that is the number one thing that I've heard from multiple females that they're talking about. Yeah, I want my man to have good communication, but it's just like it's just like what else too, but also like that's our number one thing. But also we have to keep in mind that like this generation's fucked up. I'm just gonna say how it is. We don't know how to communicate for shit, and our IQ scores are low as fuck. We're like dumb as fuck. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I'm gonna be really blunt as shit and tell y'all how it is. And I feel like that's what's missing in the dating scene, like better communication. And I know there's gonna be people out there gonna be like, oh my god, I know what you're talking about. My man is good at communicating and da da. I honestly, good for you, but I feel like also men also like to put up this persona of being nonchalant. I don't know if you guys heard the word nonchalant. I discussed nonchalant in my videos, but men love to be nonchalant. They, oh, that don't bother me. I'm not gonna tell you how I feel and that and the third. So why the fuck are you in a relationship if you're not gonna communicate? Huh? Why are you in a relationship if you're not gonna communicate? And I feel like that is something that we have to look deeper on, better communication. The second thing is the lust. We're gonna talk about lust. So my opinion about lustful behavior and just this society's all about sexual desires, It's in our songs. I don't know what food we be eating, but all y'all niggas are horny as fuck. Like, I can't. have a conversation with you guys, and it's just like, I'm gonna tell y'all the story. This happened just recently. I was on a Duet, and if you don't know what Duet is, it's a um dating app basically, right? I was on Duet, and I matched with this guy. I thought he was nice and cool, whatever. Until he talked about
hell no,
he
man. What
likes
the
hairy
fuck,
women,
man?
asked
Get your ass
questions.
off.
Then he asked to send nudes right off the bat. No hello, no how's your day, no oh what's your favorite color. And I was like, I don't want to talk about this right now. I don't want to talk about it right now. I don't want to talk about it, period. First of all, you like hairy women that don't shave, and then he asking me, do I shave? Are we okay mentally in the head, guys? Like, are we, are we thinking with our dicks? Are we thinking with our vaginas? Because it's both genders. I'm not about to, oh, it's men. It's both genders, okay? Sex sells, as I said, and whoever can rank up the most bodies wins, basically. It's a competition, you know. I never knew dating was a competition, guys. I never knew, something so intimate is a competition. Like, we turn everything into a fucking aesthetic and competition, bro. Like, it's just bizarre. The third thing is ghosting. Now, this is a big chunk of this video. I'm just gonna list three because I could go on and on about this, but we're gonna talk about ghosting and then I'm gonna end this video. But ghosting is something that's never gonna go away. If you're gonna meet, for both genders, I feel it's prominently in the era of dating. And I say this because I don't know about guys. I don't know how y'all friends be operating, guy friends or whatever, right? I honestly don't know if guys get ghosted like that with like the same gender, but female to female ghosting hurts, bro. Like, especially if I wanna, like, just have female girlhood best friends, right? That's all I dream about. 2026. I want my girlhood, you know, before dating. That's up there, you know. First get a job, then, whatever. But I do want my girlhood, right? It's heartbreaking when you want to start a conversation with a female, like just conversating, like, what's your favorite color, girl? Where do you want to go? And that and the sort. And they just, you talk to them for like, I'm gonna give a timestamp of like 2 days and then they're gone. Like, dead ass. I honestly don't know how guys operate with guy friends and guy friends. You know how, like, I don't know if they get ghosted like that. But with the dating scene, I'm gonna talk about the dating scene now because I was a little bit sidetracked with friends. But the dating scene with ghosting, if you just tell me up front. Like, I feel like, why lead me on? Like, is this like what? And then you get ghosted, and then like they don't block you, they don't do nothing, they just goodbye, right? And like you're sitting here like, oh, they're probably just busy, they're just busy, but they ghost you. How you know that? Because it's been going on for 6 months and they have not reached back to you. Yeah, they're done. They're done. Your time's over, buddy. Your time's over. That's it. And I feel like with the dating scene, like, no one wants a genuine connection anymore because of the ghosting. Because of that. Because obviously, I'm not gonna sit up here and be like, yee, like, I'm so geeked up with this person, and then they like ghost me in a month. And it's to the point where I noticed that I feel like guys do it on purpose. Like, I know. I feel like guys do it on purpose because, like, they know that you're interested in them, and they just know that they're just gonna leave and find another girl, you know. So yeah, that's how I feel about the dating scene of we're still in 2025. I honestly don't have any hope of the dating scene in 2026. Um, you know, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching about the dating scene. And if you use any dating apps, and if you think dating apps are useless, um, should we go back to personal connection? I think we should. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.